I would take you to church. I'm gonna take you to church.
That's a grown man right there.
We got up over here, filled with the Spirit. That's the new frequency.
Before all the Diddy stuff went down, Diddy and Young Miami / Carisha had a little show called Carisha Please, because this was on the Revolt channel that Diddy used to own, but he had to let that go a few months ago when everything started to go down, right? Okay, so let's just watch a little clip from there.
We have great times. We go to strip clubs, church.
Church.
I'm gonna take you to church.
I love that. I think I want to do TD Jakes.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah. I feel like this new generation need it. We need some healing.
Yeah. I'm gonna take you to the church one day.
I love that.
Real. No, that's one thing. That word is so important. Having God in your life is so important. You know, and we have to have Him on the boat. Now we got you. But you know, them sermons that I sent you. I know I always be sending you sermons. It's just, you know, I just wish everybody could get a chance to, you know, get that uplifting word every week. You know. That's
one thing I love about our friendship is that we connect with God. Like we put God first. Like you always sending me like, you sent me something about inflection point.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and it was like, it was crazy. The time that you sent it to me was like I was going through everything he was speaking about.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's like one of my favorite things about our friendship. It's like God, church. I ain't never have to take me to church.
I would take you to church. I'm gonna take you to church.
That's a grown man right there.
We got up over here, filled with the Spirit. That's the new frequency.
Was he doing his own PR campaign? Oh no. I'm like, his conscience definitely has been eating him up, but I feel like he was trying to get ahead of it by doing all the stuff, change, you know, because people pointed out he changed his name to Love, and it's the God this, God that, and it's like, wait a minute. Like we know our rappers, they get up there and they thank God for all the foul music and stuff that they release. They thank God for their success, but it's just like, bruh, ain't no what?
I think it's easy. I know, right? Strip clubs at church. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Carter, the math ain't math, it is it. Like, and if you know anything about the City Girls, now I don't really know a lot of their music. I was super late on the City Girls train, the Hot Girl Summer and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, man, apparently I'm old because I have no idea who these people are. But the little bit I do know about the City Girls and those types of artists is there's nothing very holy or Christian going on around those parts. Right?
And look, Tytus, we didn't know about getting flued out anywhere until Carisha said it. Well, all expenses is paid. Didn't nobody know nothing about that.
That's who started the flued out thing. See, I didn't even know that. I'm so checked out. Well, Carisha,
I bet you she regret getting flued out. Shoot, now all this stuff.
It's so bad because now she's trying to distance herself. She was so happy to be with Diddy, like from the BET Awards with that young poppy sign, and then them posting all these videos. And he took her to what was the Met Gala, and they looked amazing at the Met Gala. Like she looked immaculate, right? But now it's like, I want to get myself as far away from the situation. Like Diddy, who? I don't know no Diddy. I don't who like, and that's just terrible.
Yeah, fame is such a lure for young people, especially if you're young and beautiful and have these promising careers. It's just like the world will offer you everything and then strip you of it all, just just like that. And it's just tragic.
It is. I think Warrior Woman has a very good question. Let's get your take. Okay, do y'all believe that the music industry and Christianity clash, or do you believe one can remain in this world but not of this world?
I do think, okay, so the profane music industry, yes, it definitely clashes. If you go back like a few years ago, Waka Flocka was on the Breakfast Club, and he was talking about how he was like, yeah, he said these reality shows, the industry, like they don't want to push family, like me being a husband and a father, like they don't push those things. They want to push basically like foul things, And so I think that that part of the music industry, the dark part and all of that stuff, it definitely clashes with Christianity. I do think only by the grace of God, someone who's truly rooted in Christ, like truly born again, born of the Spirit. I think that it's difficult for them to remain rooted, but it's possible. I think it's possible. So I don't think it's easy, but I think it's possible. And there's something, I think in the last maybe 20 years, just seeing what kind of happens in the music industry, I don't know how anyone could sustain that for a long time. I do believe it's possible depending on who you're surrounded by and if you're truly in Christ and in the Word. But I would say people would have to withdraw for, like, you might have to disappear off the scene, like have just seasons of that, because I think it would be too much. I think it would be too much.
I think somebody mentioned like Tori Kelly, which I don't know much about Tori Kelly other than her voice is amazing. But they're like, she
Hmm.
seems to be doing pretty good. I look at people like CeCe Winans, you know, whom
I
some of
mean,
the,
we think.
yeah, we think. Hopefully nothing crazy is going on behind closed doors, but I think she's a great example of what the ideal Christian walk would look like if you were able to do it with fame and not compromise.
I've been to her concerts, and when I came to her concert, because she does pop music, and it's clean. It's not like, sexual
Yeah.
innuendos. It's like heartbreak songs, love songs. And she did talk openly about Jesus. I remember she took a break mid set, like maybe after she did the first half, and she said, I don't know if you guys know this. She said, but I want you to know I'm a Jesus lover. I love Jesus. And she did like a worship song, like in her set, and there were a lot of Christians there, but there were a lot of people who weren't Christian, and I could see them kind of like, it gave them pause, like they were like, you know, they appreciated it because it's music and it's artistry, but I don't know, they weren't the most comfortable, I think, in that setting, but they appreciated it. So I appreciated that about her. I do know a young lady who I knew before she got in the industry. She's a songwriter now in the industry, and she pens a lot of people's song hits for Ariana Grande and stuff. And she told me this was at the time, I don't know if it's true now, but she said, man, she said, I feel like she's like one of the saddest girls in the industry. And but this was like before, like, this is maybe around like maybe her second album or something like that. And I remember her telling me that. And I think it's just because it's hard. I'm sure she has fights with her team over how she needs to dress and collaborations. I'm sure it's not easy, but I know it's possible. You got to say no to a lot of things.
I think fame and popularity and a whole bunch of money just adds a layer of temptation that I think we all should be mindful of. So if that can happen, just like someone like a social media content creator, your head can get this big. When 5 people know your name, you start to think like, oh man, I have arrived. And it's like people can make really bad decisions when they start to become popular. And I think that's why the Bible is like, listen, God gives grace to the humble. He opposes the proud, so be careful. And so I think with the music industry, especially secular music, hip hop, like it's really dangerous to be a rapper these days from what I can tell. But I've heard that the gospel music industry is way more corrupt than even the secular industry. So do I think it's possible to still maintain your faith and be walking with Christ and be a part of that? Yeah. But I do think because of all the stuff that comes along with it, like you are more likely to find yourself in some compromising situations because you just have access to a lot more things. So those are
Yeah,
my
because
thoughts.
you'll get pimped if you're young and you're talented. You will get pimped. The industry will pimp you, and you really have to be surrounded by people who will protect you. Like Jason Weaver. Jason Weaver, shout out to Jason Weaver from Chicago. He said, he landed some huge roles. He was Michael Jackson in the Jackson 5 biopic. He was the main one of the main voices and did the singing in The Lion King. He could eat off that movie forever. And he said his mom was his manager. And she kept him grounded, As far as I know, he hadn't been involved in any scandals. Now he's not a Christian, but his mom was like there to be that force and to be that protector. But a lot of people don't have that. As we see with that Nickelodeon documentary, they separate the
Yo,
kids from their parents and take
yeah.
advantage of them, and then the predators sweep in. So you just gotta be careful. And this is just what is, because before this, everybody saw Diddy as powerful. He's a mogul, he's a billionaire. But then it's like, now it's just like, man, you're a predator.
Yeah. Let's see what Pastor Booker got to say about this whole situation. From James Booker, the problem is that many are attracted to the pastor's celebrity and not his or her biblical and theological soundness. That right there is a bar. Yeah, I agree. Like, just want to be with the popular pastors, the one whose books are in Barnes and Nobles, but you're not really listening a lot of times to the stuff that they're saying.